What's going on, Cloud Scholars? I hope your day is going well. My name is Kieran Tross, and I'm your host for today's video. Today's video, I want to talk about some of the methods that you can use to protect your Bastion host. So first, let's talk a little bit about what is a Bastion host. A Bastion host is a special purpose computer on a network specifically designed and configured to withstand attacks and provide secure access to resources inside a private network. All right, so this screen here is showing you how the Azure Bastion host works. So user goes into the Azure portal, clicks on the Bastion service. That service is configured to get inside your internal network where you have your high priority resources. That can be your servers, running certain applications. So that this way you can go into your Bastion host, which opens up within your browser, whether it's Chrome or IE. And then from there you can get into your internal network, which is your Azure virtual machines or servers or whatever you need access to within your organization. But let's talk a little bit about, let's say if you're not using Azure, right? Or, perfectly fine, you're using Azure, but you can still come up with different strategies so that this way you can keep your environment secure. So what do I mean by that? One of the first tips I want to give you is thinking about privileged access workstations. So this is a dedicated and highly secure device that is used by privileged users, such as a system administrator, to access sensitive data or perform administrative tasks. A PAW is designed to minimize the risk of cyber threats and data breaches by restricting access to only authorized users and enforcing strict security controls. So you can set up your rules so that this way your Bastion host will only allow permissions to those who are coming from PCs within a group, and that group will be your privileged access workstations. Remember, a lot of times when Bastion hosts are set up, they're set up where it's public facing. So you want to make sure that only certain individuals are able to log in to the Bastion host, because from that Bastion host, it goes into your network. And your network is saying, okay, we'll allow access here because your firewall rules, but the access is only permitted from that Bastion host. Another thing you want to talk about is AD authentication. Azure Bastion host allows you to use Azure AD authentication to authenticate users connecting to the Bastion host. So if you are not a part of the Active Directory system, you will not get access to the Azure Bastion host. Another tip that I want to bring up is least privilege. So let's say you went ahead and you set it up so that this way it's AD authenticated, but the user's privileges are excessive. So for that reason, you want to make sure you're implementing least privilege. And what least privilege is a security principle that requires that users or processes are only granted the minimum level of access or permissions necessary to perform their job, function, or task. This is one of the greatest features ever, just in time, JIT. Azure Security Center offers JIT access to VMs, which provide temporary access to VMs for a specific time period to authorized users. This helps to reduce the attack surface by reducing the time your VMs are open to access. So you want to say, okay, listen, you need access to it. I'm only giving you this permission, right, within the NSG firewalls for an hour or 2 hours. So that's basically how just-in-time works. It doesn't allow any access at all. Once you click that just-in-time button, then it allows access for a certain amount of time. And normally what happens is, if you look at the NSG firewalls after you click on just in time, if you look at them, you'll see that your public IP address will be within the firewall rules as an allow. Secure internal traffic. So you want to ensure that all virtual networks follow an enterprise segmentation principle that aligns to the business risk. Any systems that incur high risk for organizations should be isolated within its own virtual network and sufficiently secured within a network security group. So really how you partition your network is what this is talking about here, where it talks about secure internal traffic. We're doing one thing with the Bastion host. We're saying, okay, subnet B will only give access to the Bastion host from this specific IP address. And you'll do a combination of different things, which is also included as using private links, so that this way that Bastion host cannot communicate with your internal network. Last but not least, which is monitor. So enable login and monitoring for Azure Bastion to detect suspicious activity and respond to potential security incidents. Use Azure Monitor to track activity and enable alerts for unusual behavior. So don't just monitor it. You want to make sure that you're setting up alerts. And you can set up your alerts so that this way you can send an email, you could do some type of automation if something does happen. You want to make sure that you're being as proactive as possible, because when threats do occur, which there's a high chance they will, that your systems are able to continue to operate and that you are able to recover in a timely fashion. So this is a quick video, PowerPoint slides of tips to secure your Bastion hosts. I hope the information I provided you today was beneficial to you. If you haven't done so already, please smash that like and subscribe button. Here at Cloud Scholars, our goal is to get you from scholar to consultant and from consultant to expert. Thank you, and see you next time.